The heart of Russia's air defense system, its so-called impenetrable shield, suddenly exploded into a fireball near the Ukrainian border. Not from outside, not from a missile strike, but from within. An enormous blast ripped through the S-300/S-400 air defense base in Kulishovka in Russia's Rostov Oblast, a strategic location bordering Ukraine. The massive detonation, captured on video and confirmed by local sources, has left a smoking crater of questions, and potentially a critical hole in Russia's defensive wall. And just as Russia reels from that internal disaster, the battle in eastern Ukraine has intensified. Pokrovsk is hanging by a thread. Rodynske is under assault from multiple vectors. Ukrainian troops are being tested on every front, while drones, sabotage teams, and old-world artillery reshape modern warfare. A major explosion occurred inside a Russian air defense base in the village of Kulishovka, located in Rostov Oblast, just across the Ukrainian border. The base is known to host advanced S-300 and S-400 air defense systems, the very backbone of Russia's aerial denial strategy. Eyewitness footage from the nearby area showed a massive blaze erupting inside the facility. Smoke plumes billowed into the sky. From civilian vantage points in the village, the damage appeared catastrophic. Photographs taken from ground level confirm a massive fireball where military infrastructure once stood. But here's the twist. Russian officials and Z military bloggers are scrambling to claim it was an internal mishap, not a Ukrainian drone strike. That claim, however, is unconvincing. First, the timing. Second, the location. And third, the nature of the explosion suggests highly combustible military-grade materials were involved. While Ukraine has remained silent, speculation is mounting that this was a targeted sabotage or deep strike operation by Ukrainian intelligence or special forces. Either way, something critically important was hit, and possibly destroyed. Satellite confirmation is pending, but independent analysts confirm the base location, and that damage is very real. If S-300 systems were destroyed, this would significantly weaken Russian air coverage near Ukraine's eastern border, giving Ukrainian drones and aircraft more freedom of operation in a critical sector of the front line. While Russia scrambles to clean up the mess behind its lines, the eastern front lines are heating up fast. In Rodynske, near Pokrovsk, the situation is growing increasingly dire. Russian forces are mounting aggressive assaults from multiple directions, trying to encircle and overwhelm Ukrainian defenses. According to verified maps and military trackers, Russian troops are attacking Rodynske from two key vectors. Their strategy? Secure Rodynske and use it as a springboard to push deeper, toward Pokrovsk, Myrnorod, and even further toward Shevchenko. This isn't just about capturing ground. Rodynske plays a crucial tactical role in surveillance and strike operations. Once occupied, it would allow Russian drone operators to target Ukrainian positions up to 15 kilometers away, essentially turning Ukrainian-held territories into sitting ducks. Russian sabotage groups have already infiltrated Pokrovsk. While most are neutralized, some manage to slip in, wreaking havoc behind Ukrainian lines. Military analysts confirm Rodynske's fall could accelerate the collapse of the surrounding defenses. The terrifying prospect is real. If Rodynske is lost, Pokrovsk could be next. Now, zooming out, why this aggressive push? Because Vladimir Putin believes his forces can deliver a breakthrough in 2 to 3 months. According to reports, Putin has received reassurances from his high command that a major advance is possible before the onset of winter. His goal, to seize control over the remaining areas of Donetsk, Luhansk, parts of Zaporizhzhia, and even make progress into the Kherson region. Only after these gains, Putin reportedly believes, will he enter serious negotiations once he can claim battlefield momentum. But this thinking is deeply flawed. Russia may advance, but it comes at a staggering cost. Ukrainian defenses are growing more sophisticated, and Western support, although sometimes delayed, is helping Ukraine fortify new defensive lines. Putin may believe he's steering the war toward victory, but analysts say he's drifting further into delusion. And in the shadows of these major offensives, an invisible war is unfolding. In the Sumy region, Ukraine's military intelligence, GUR, carried out a successful combined artillery and infantry strike, eliminating 334 Russian troops and wounding over 500 more. A vintage Croatian-made M93A3 Heron artillery system, resembling something out of World War II, was instrumental in the assault. Despite being a seemingly outdated system, the Heron proved devastating. Light, mobile, and hard to detect, this artillery piece could be towed by a pickup truck, and it was able to deliver a precision strike that left Russian units shattered. Meanwhile, Russian drone surveillance spotted the system but failed to destroy it. underscoring Ukraine's tactical cunning and adaptive warfare. Back on the Eastern Front, Russian forces made incremental but alarming advances near Pokrovsk and Mirnorod. Ukrainian defenders have reportedly pulled back from Pivka, and the area is now under Russian control. In Toretsk, the situation is even more critical. Russian troops are nearly in full control of the town, threatening to encircle Ukrainian forces in the surrounding villages: Shcherbinka, Petrikivka, Karinka, and the oddly named Hibain. If the remaining supply roads to these villages are cut off, Ukrainian units could be trapped with no viable path for retreat or resupply. A large lake nearby adds to the vulnerability, making any escape even more difficult. From a tactical standpoint, the Institute for the Study of War has already marked the entire region as a gray zone, a battlefield with fluid control, high-intensity combat, and the looming threat of encirclement. If Ukrainian forces don't reposition, they risk being surrounded in one swift move. But it's not all bad news. In Zeleny High, where Russian forces had raised their flag and claimed victory, Ukraine launched a surprise counterattack and partially retook the village. This has become a familiar pattern. Russian units wave flags, declare liberation, only to be forced out days later. It's a dangerous cycle driven by propaganda, desperate to show gains for television screens back home, regardless of military reality. Ukrainian drone warfare continues to evolve. In Belgorod Oblast, a Russian T-72 tank column sent as reinforcements for the Kharkiv offensive was intercepted and systematically destroyed by Ukrainian drones. Operators struck again and again until every tank in the convoy was rendered useless. Some of the tank crews even abandoned their vehicles before the final strikes landed, underscoring the psychological pressure Ukrainian drone operators now wield over Russian forces. Russia's once proud armor is now reduced to abandoned husks in fields, picked off before they can even enter the battle. In an even more disturbing update, footage surfaced of a Russian commander physically assaulting his own soldiers for refusing to participate in meat wave assaults. 3 conscripts who refused to go on likely suicidal missions were beaten by their superior, all caught on camera. The officer mockingly told them they were just meat for the Russian army, and that since they'd taken the money, they should march to their deaths. This footage paints a terrifying picture of the morale crisis within the Russian army. Desperation, force, violence against their own. This isn't command and control, it's coercion and collapse. A recent casualty report reveals an unexpected trend. Ukraine, while on the defensive, has recently lost more military equipment than Russia, particularly in tanks and vehicles. But there's a reason. Russia is increasingly relying on infantry waves, sending troops forward on motorbikes and all-terrain vehicles, minimizing equipment usage. This isn't a sign of tactical brilliance, it's a sign of scarcity. Russia's domestic military production can't keep up with losses, so instead of replacing tanks, they send more men. This reduces equipment losses, yes, but skyrockets personnel casualties. In some regions, for every Ukrainian soldier killed, 60 Russians are lost. Especially in the Lyman direction, Russian military bloggers admit their own leadership is grossly incompetent, wasting lives for little gain. And for what? The villages and towns Russia now occupies are shells of their former selves, flattened, depopulated ruins. The so-called liberated towns no longer house the Russian-speaking populations Putin once claimed to protect. Those people have either fled or were killed during the liberation. In many ways, Russia is waging war not against foreign powers, but against those who were once closest to it, culturally and linguistically. It is not conquest, it is self-destruction disguised as victory. As the war grinds on, Ukraine continues to adapt, combining old tech with new tactics, precision strikes with deep raids, and stubborn defense with strategic retreat. The kaboom at the S-300 base in Kulishovka isn't just symbolic. It reveals the rot within Russia's military machine. As Putin pushes forward, driven by fantasy, the real-world consequences multiply on the battlefield, in his economy, and among his own troops. The battle for Rodynske, the assault on Pokrovsk, the strikes in Sumy, the chaos in Belgorod. These aren't isolated incidents. They're threads in a larger fabric, a war that's not going the way Moscow hoped. And that massive explosion at the air defense base, it may have signaled more than just smoke and fire. It may have lit a fuse.